Hi, and welcome to Off the Beaten Tracks, where every third Friday is Sandwiches in the Park.
Hi, welcome back to Off the Beaten Tracks. Once again, I'm here with Bill Wood from II, and today we're going to talk about the second album, which was called Common Ground, and this one followed the first, which had the huge hit Out on the Limb. This album had quite a different group of people involved, didn't it, Bill?
Yes, yeah. Things kind of, unraveled a little bit. We knew that the keyboard player that we had touring with us was not going to be part of the band. We used, I think the guy's name was Doug Riley. We used a couple of different people.
Riley, he's fantastic.
In the studio. Like David Bendith had some connections. We at this point were just kind of like, we'll work with anybody. We didn't like David's last record. He had done Platinum Blonde's Contact, which was a big departure for Platinum Blonde. He was trying to revamp their sound and make them more marketable in the States. But they were horrible songs. It was a horrible record. You know, it was just like, oh no, it's going to make our record horrible. But it ended up being a great journey working with David Bendith because he knew the industry and he came on board. And I mean, he's a hustler and whatever. So it's like, all right, well, we need some songs. So let's write some together. So, I mean, it's just like, oh, okay, so now we have some songs, and now you have a piece of the action. But it was okay, because we were just, honestly, it'd been so long, we were just dying to get the record out.
When you went in on this particular album, you had already got the other album and, you know, the different tracks you'd done under your belt. How long did it take, start to finish, to get this one off the ground?
I can't remember exactly, but it was probably, 3 weeks or something like that. Definitely Duke Street would have booked Manta for a block of time. It's the same thing with like David Bendith. He was bouncing between New York and Toronto, so he would have wanted a window to get it started and finished kind of thing. And we did. I think we did like maybe a week of pre-production. Which was also songwriting, and Bendith was part of that. And then probably 2 to 3 weeks. There might have been, and then maybe it was a cut off, and then maybe there was more sessions to do the mixing or whatever. But the tracking, that would be my guess. It started off well. David was great. He was challenging me. He's like, Bill, you're just not pushing enough air. Like, I'm telling you. And I'm like, well, no, your voice is there. Like, do it. Like, and so he got me singing full out, which I hadn't done in I don't know how long. He brought in some cool side players. He found a flamenco guitar player playing at that place on College near Bathurst. I don't know if it's there anymore, but it was a late night, Latin club or whatever, and so this guy came at the end of his shift at 2 a.m, chain smoking cigarettes and drinking whiskey, and and David was really kind of that fun, kind of enthusiastic thing. What ended up being a problem was Bendith's a guitar player.
Yes.
And so he was on Andy's case a lot about the approach of the guitar and the sound of the guitar and the guitar and the guitar and the guitar, till Andy just lost heart completely and kind of boycotted the sessions. David Bendith, before anything was signed, had said, I'm going to work with you. We're going to work together on this thing. But I believe there's quite a bit of David's guitar on there that became a bit of a problem or whatever. But we got the record done. We didn't believe in it as much as the first record. I mean, that's just the truth. We were at this point, the decisions were taken out of our hands. Like I remember, playing a song that we had just demoed it with like a sequence and some, whatever, electric drums or whatever, and a vocal. I had a vision for taking us in a bit more of a dance kind of feel, using saxophones and expanding the sonic sound of it. I mean, to be honest, I was really loving what Brian Ferry was doing at the time with Roxy Music and stuff like that. And it was like, so I, had a couple of songs sort of shaped like that, which I thought would have been nice sort of fillers. We finally got some songs that we liked. We had the song Endless Night. I really loved it. So then we have to shoot a video. And so, these decisions aren't in our hands. So then we were given a video director. And I mean, I don't know if you've seen the video, but I mean, it's beyond dreadful. I mean, it's so awful. So we've been gone for 3 years. The sound has shifted. Some of the band members have changed. We've gotten older. So then we have this awful video, this record that we're very tentative about, but just hoping that, boom, maybe it'll, spark legs on its own. Patsy Cline hated half of her hits. This song's a piece of crap, and their producer made her record them, and they were giant hits. So you're kind of hoping, well, maybe that's going to be one of these kind of stories. But it was tough. You try to sell something, and you're not feeling genuine enthusiasm about it, and your insecurities have been just getting, totally jacked over the last couple of years, which is having the records that you are, or the songs that you are submitting being, sent back to the drawing board, etc., etc., etc. So we weren't, a lot of this game is confidence and believing in what you do, and so it's hard to fake it. We didn't love this record, we were hoping that it would do what it was, do, and it didn't. It kind of was, we had 2 singles, 2 videos were shot, but we couldn't, it just would not gather any momentum whatsoever.
So what happened? Did it all sort of just come to a big car crash ending, or?
Well, it was kind of more like a plane crash ending because our drummer Mark Capperell died in a.
Oh, actually, I shouldn't be laughing. That's true.
It's true, and it was a sad thing. But I mean, the fact of the matter was, Andy and I, and Mark up to a point, and then he passed away, and that was really. It wasn't the actual death knell, but it was. We were like, what the heck? But Andy had built a recording studio, so we had sort of a center to kind of just work on stuff. So we recorded a 3rd record, and we brought it to Duke Street, and they were like, "Hey, this is not bad, but we don't really have a budget for you guys anymore. So we want to remix these demos and put them out as is." We're like, oh, come on, kind of thing. But then they said, but you know what? We'd be happy to kind of, release you guys from your contract. So in a way, that was nice of them because we no longer had this giant debt hanging over our head. And, we were free. We almost got it released with some other small label, but I don't know what happened there. That's another long story. But when that didn't happen, I just said, I think I'm done. I had 2 small kids, and I needed to focus on bringing in steady income and, just focusing on life. This wasn't my vision. I didn't have the autonomy to just, follow my muse or my, creative whatever, excitements or anything like that. I was brought in to be a team player. So you have to live with the decisions and all of that kind of stuff that happens. So there's no regrets, but it was just time when the 3rd record wasn't going to see the light of day. And then it was like looking at, kind of what this record sort of did, was, it's like it wasn't anything I was really proud of. So I really wanted to just disappear for a while. Frankly, I was just happy to let go of it all because there was no plan to return or anything. It was just like, I'm done, But then I found out, over time and just focusing with my kids that I was in fact a songwriter. That's something that I had to continue doing, so after the kids were older or whatever, I started recording again, and now have a little kind of small careerish, whatever existence as a musician, and I'm happy.
Well, this album, very much like the first one, was a product of its time. This early 80s new wave pop, and all of a sudden everybody has a synthesizer. Into that soupy mix, lo and behold, a harmonica. How did that happen?
Well, I would have to give David Bendis credit for that as well. I mean, I think, he definitely understands the big picture of the impact, a song has, and just sonically pieces that, help a song, move forward. So I think, he probably just listened to the tune and just said, this needs harmonica, and it'd be like, okay, so Al Lerman, is a well-known harp player. He's actually, I'm living out in the Prince Edward County now, and he's out there a lot. He's a popular guy. Anyway, he came in. I'm not even sure if I was there for the session, to be honest. It might have been another late night thing. I can't pull it up. But what I do know is it was one of the songs for a video, and it was like, what the heck are we going to do? And I just said, I got something. So, so I did this kind of thing where I'm playing a harp, and you can hear it, and then just as the solo ends, I kind of open my hands like, where the hell did it go? So it worked. And I actually was like, hey, that was funny, Bill. It's like, okay, cool. On that video, we brought Donald Kwan on the actual set. Having Donald in the band was just this, it was creative, just, he's awesome. So the energy, just the stage energy, just that kind of feeling was really great. It was like, we got to put him in the video because he brings something. He's in there. Donald Kwan's in there. He's a buddy.
And do you credit David Bendis for the different sort of vocal that you used on that particular track, on My Sensation?
When it comes down to the finishing stuff, because there's a lot of vocal applications and treatments and stuff like that, really don't happen until the final mix and stuff like that. So you're just singing the songs. The song that David really kicked my butt in, I think it was called Living for the Fire. And he just would not let me go until, and he was like standing in the room with me. He's like, don't be giving this, Living for the Fire. Friggin' kick that, I'm like, it's like, that's it, so, I did that a bunch of times, and, it was fun. So, he was, I know, he has these different nicknames, David Band Death or whatever, but, I think our band was already, the death certificate was already signed before he came on board, so I certainly don't blame anybody or anything. I gotta be honest, I write songs now, I do my thing, like I'm honestly in my best place, I'm writing the best songs I've ever written. I'm playing, my band, the Woodies, is the best band I've ever had. And then this new development of doing duo shows with Bert Carroll, I mean, he's absolutely world class. So, the industry itself, it's still out there, I try to do what I can, hustle a little bit here and there, but the minute it sort of fills me with dread and a lot of these trigger feelings, bringing back all this kind of ancient wounding that I underwent in the 80s, I just steer away from it because at this point I'm happy. I don't know if I'd want to still be singing these tunes now. I know there's a lot of 80s artists that are continuing, and there's a lot of 80s festivals, and there's opportunities there. And would it hurt to have people pay good money and still be singing along to your songs? Probably not. But when I look at the two records and the body of work there, like if every night, the highlight was me singing Out on a Limb, I think I'd pretty much want to shoot myself, so I'm happy, like I feel like I'm in a, I found myself, like with I had to be a team player, so there's parts of me in there for sure, but not all of me, and there's often times where just, you just have to grin and take the decisions or the direction or whatever's happening, because you don't have the ability or the power to kind of say no, 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 and so there's no regrets, but I'm happy where I am now.
Well, thanks for coming in, Bill.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for joining us again at Off the Beaten Tracks. I'm Roxanne, and this has been another trip down memory lane with Bill Wood from II.
Horse racing is a sport of kings, but skydiving is the sport of being buried in a pizza box.